Hi everybody, it's Julia from Matheson Travel coming to you again from San Francisco. And this week I've been working on a road trip for some clients, and that's the way I've traveled quite a bit. And so I wanted to sort of give you a few of the hints of how I go about planning those, because I think I do a pretty good job at it, and so I wanted to share it with you. Now, when you are thinking about driving around someplace, you want to try and contain the area. That's why smaller countries, island countries like Ireland, Iceland, the UK are really well suited to road trips because they've got a lot and a little amount of space. That's not to say that you cannot do a great road trip in the States. Obviously, that's Route 66 is something we're definitely known for, but you're definitely going to be driving a little bit longer in big spaces like that. Now, the way I go about doing it, I don't start with the route. I just pick up a map. I'm an old-fashioned, I actually like paper maps, and this is actually the one I used to plan my England trip. I go, okay, I know I want to go to London, to Bath, to Chatsworth, wherever. And I actually put an X where they all are on the map. And then I look at it and I go, okay, well, if Chatsworth is way up there and Bath is way down here, what's in between? Oh, okay, Stratford-upon-Avon, whatever, what have you. And I look at what's around the different places I want to go, and then I hop on something like Google Maps or MapQuest, and I figure out how long it's going to actually take me to get from place to place. And this is where the kind of artistry comes in, because you really don't want to have too much planned for a driving day. In fact, I really try and keep my driving distances to 2 or 3 hours maximum, maybe 4, if you really just got to get from one place to the other. And the reason why you do that, and the way I sort of end up doing it, is you get up, you have breakfast, and then you go and you drive for a couple hours, you end up somewhere for lunch, and you either then spend a really nice time exploring that place for lunch, or you just have a quick lunch and keep going, or you actually arrive in your next destination, and then you have the whole afternoon to explore it, and then you've got a full day the next day, because again, I usually plan 2 or 3 nights everywhere I go. But so that's why you have to start sort of and look at your different driving directions and figure out, oh, well, if I want to see this, this, and this, can I do that in one day, or should I do that in 2 days and spend the night in between somewhere? This is the other thing about road tripping, which is what's so great about it, is you've got so much flexibility. So, you also want to plan in some time for adjustment. You may be driving down the road and you see the most beautiful thing in the world, and you just have to stop and explore it. So whenever I look at, okay, if I'm going to go from this place to this place to this place in one day, and the driving is supposed to be about 4 hours, go ahead and add an hour on both ends. So assume that you're going to be in the car for 6 total hours, even if, that might include stopping or something like that. So that gives you a little bit of flexibility, and it also gives you enough time, in case you hit traffic or you have bad weather or something like that, so that you're not arriving at your destination super late. Now, obviously, when you're planning a road trip, things like the rental car and one-way drop fees are going to be something you want to think about, i.e. if you start in, say, London and drop in Edinburgh, for example, you're going to have probably a one-way drop fee. Not always. Some rental car companies you can get quotes without a drop fee, but those drop fees can sometimes be $100 or more, so you definitely want to think about that. The other thing you really want to think about is having a GPS. When I was in France this summer, I cannot tell you how much my little GPS, I named her name was Sloan, I think, and she saved my bacon many a time, because in the States, we're so used to using our phone and having internet everywhere we go, but that's not the case. If you use your Google Maps when you're abroad on roaming, that is going to cost you a fortune. And these roads can be really super tiny, so definitely recommend having a GPS with you in your own language, obviously. But then the other thing I recommend is actually, if you're really doing in-depth in a region, is to get the Michelin map. This was for Brittany, one little corner of Brittany, and it's freaking massive, so it's really wasn't the most practical thing. We kept having to refold so that we would have the little area, but it really can be a lifesaver, because sometimes when you're road tripping, like in Brittany, you're really there for the atmosphere and the scenery, and you're not necessarily going from point A to point B in the fastest way possible, which is how GPS works. So having a paper map actually factually does, I think, help, because you see all the little different roads, or you see the different shortcuts and things like that. So I definitely recommend investing in these when you get in the location that you're going to be. You know, maybe only for the parts where you know you're going to be driving around and wandering, but because they are really big and unwieldy. But I do recommend that in addition to your GPS. So those are a few of my tips and tricks for road tripping. I hope that they were helpful, and I'll talk to you next week.